Welcome to Plan 9 Crunch podcast, and this will be a short but sweet one where we're going to talk about the film Godzilla versus Megalon. I'm with Joe Gibson. Joe, what year was that movie?
1973.
1973, and it has, I'll let Joe describe it. It has a scene that many people remember. You might call it famous, or you could call it infamous too. And let Joe explain all about that and some of the backstory and what people think about it. Go, Joe.
So, in the film, so there's an inventor, Goro Ibuki, and Mr. Jinkawa, his ambiguously intimate partner, and they make this robot jet jaguar. And an underground civilization, the Seatopians, want to use Jet Jaguar to guide Megalon in an invasion. They also have aliens on tap to loan out their monster Gigan. Don't worry about that. But Jet Jaguar breaks free from the commands due to the heroic efforts of Goro Ibuki, his kid brother, and Mr. Jinkawa. So Jet Jaguar summons Godzilla to help him fight off the aliens, and the fight goes as you'd expect, but towards the end of it, after Gigan retreats and Jet Jaguar is holding Megalon down, Godzilla performs a very strange move. We can't show it right now, but it's Godzilla sliding on his tail, feet forward, to kick into Megalon a couple times until Megalon's knocked out by that, and it's a very strange scene.
So I think they also spoofed that in Mystery Science Theater, didn't they? They were laughing at it.
Yes.
Yeah, like you said, we can't show that because we don't know about the copyright right now. We may find that out in a few weeks because we had done something earlier where we showed it. But it's just such a bizarre scene of Godzilla doing something that he doesn't normally do. And I want to ask Joe, were these films in the 1970s, the Toho films, were they starting to be intentionally geared toward children?
By the 70s, yes, definitely. There's a bit more nuance to that, though. So this is Jun Fukuda, right? He directed like 5 of these from the 60s and 70s. He was the campier guy. Think Son of Godzilla, Ebra, Horror of the Deep, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Whereas you have Ishiro Honda, who preferred the serious stuff, did get a little silly and stuff like Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster in 1964, but preferred to be more serious. Now, Fukuda was brought on the franchise in 1966, which is also right when Gamera started to be popular, and Gamera is having success by marketing towards the children. So you see, after that point, that even the non-Fukuda films are child-friendly, such as Terror Mechagodzilla 1975, which is a darker film but still features a Godzilla that saves children.
You know, we like the movie Hedorah, which is also called Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. But I remember one kid going up there and saying, "Come on, Godzilla!" at least in the dub version. And of course, there's always these kids in short pants running around these things. So I do think for a while they were trying to save the franchise. I don't know if you know this, but how many films, were all the Godzilla films released to the U.S., or did some go directly to TV? Do you know that? We'd have to...
It's before my time. I don't think that... I know that Megalon was big in like VHS things. I'm not sure if it ever aired here in theaters, but it would have on the TV, definitely.
Well, you know, we have Godzilla's back now. We just watched on Netflix, you for the 5th time, me for the 4th time, Godzilla -1, and we're both going to watch the U.S. dub version, even though we haven't yet, and see how that differs, because we love the subtitles and everything. And then you have the what are they called, Revolution, or who are the people that put out Godzilla X and things like that?
Legendary,
yeah. You have the Legendary one. So Godzilla's back, and there are obviously more films for adults. Although I think the Legendary films, you'd agree with me, are a little more campier.
Depends
don't you
on the
think?
film.
I mean, Kong having a toothache or something in the most recent film.
That one's definitely one of the more
So
creepy ones.
we hope to be able to show this scene eventually. Right now, it's just an audio and video podcast of us talking about Godzilla sliding on his tail, and you can go look at it on YouTube if you want to in the movie. It's pretty funny. Anything else you want to add, Joe?
Yeah. It's not the craziest thing Godzilla does. In Hedorah, he flies by pointing his atomic breath down. So that's pretty crazy. While we're on the topic of Hedorah, I think that while it does have a lot of child stuff, it is still one of the more politically charged ones with an environmentalist message.
We have to talk about Hedorah sometime. Steve Stone's
and a pro-nuclear stance.
It did, yeah. It was a bit political too, wasn't it? And Steve Stone's has a great Hedorah painting that we'll show sometime. Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you for watching this. Remember Plan 9 Crunch at YouTube. It's also on Facebook. And there's a Plan 9 Crunch podcast. You'll be able to hear this both at YouTube and also on Facebook and also at the podcast, which you can find usually at Apple and Spotify, etc. And the blog is always, we spell out 9 in the blog, plan9crunch.blogspot.com. Thank you very much. That's a wrap.